as America's summer golf capital, because it really does offer these like a great collection of courses which are world-class courses and golf courses that you can afford to golf and that you can play. They're not too difficult. They're difficult enough, but not too much. We actually have one golf course in the northeast part of the Lower Peninsula, and this golf course is featuring what they call the Loop. The Loop at Forest Dunes Golf Course is what they're calling the world's first reversible golf course, where there are tee boxes and greens at each end of the fairways, so you can go back and forth, or on one day go one direction, another day go the other direction. It's interesting. It's not really the first in the world. It's just the first in a while. The Scottish golf course originally was along this design. So it's cool to see that in such a high-quality golf course. It's getting great reviews. It just opened up this last year. So we're doing very well. And the neat thing about golfing in Michigan is that we have high-quality golf courses literally everywhere, and not just the golf courses that have been featured in the Ryder Cup. We've hosted the Ryder Cup before. But golf courses that are open to the public. So we love people to come. They're going to enjoy that experience. A lot of them, by the way, are in full resorts as well. So you can get like places like Guinn, USA, or Crystal Mountain, or Shanty Creek, or Treetops Resort, where you can go to one of their many golf courses and then stay at the resort and maybe go to a spa, go to their restaurants, go to their pubs. You don't have to go very far. You don't have to drive very far. You just stay right on their campus and enjoy golf course after golf course. It's quite an experience and an affordable one as well.
I'm so bad at golf. If I was to do the Loop, they'll be changing it halfway around.
Yeah.
And as long as the golf course has never mentioned the Ryder Cup, that'd be good too.
Well, even though the recent golf course Ryder Cup experience maybe wasn't what you guys had hoped for, believe me, we've gone through the pain for many years. So we'll share it a little bit with you this time, and I'm sure next time there'll be maybe a little bit more for you to enjoy. We'll see. Yeah.
Just looking at the website, I saw Clictivated.
Oh, yeah.
What's Clictivated?
Yeah. Clictivated is a company based in Detroit, and we love this technology. When you go to Michigan.org, you can actually look at our TV ads. We've produced over 100 TV ads for Pure Michigan with the voice of Tim Allen. The actor Tim Allen played Santa Claus, Tim the Toolman Taylor, all these really great parts over the years. Well, he grew up in Michigan, he loves Michigan, and he's the voice of Pure Michigan. So when you go to Michigan.org, look for those ads, and when you're watching the ad from our website, you can actually click on things. Like, let's say you're watching a Detroit ad about the comeback of Detroit. Maybe you see this big building, which is like the Renaissance building. You might click on that. A little window will pop up on the side, and then maybe later on in that ad you might see craft beer in that ad, and click on it again, a little bubble will go off to the side, and then maybe you'll see a picture of one of our beautiful sports facilities. Click on that, little bubble will come to the side. Later on, after you watch that ad, you can go to those little windows that you've saved in effect, and you can find out more about the Renaissance Center being the home of General Motors and having a small little modern automobile kind of like museum in the basement that you can see, and the fact that that building has the tallest hotel in the hemisphere, things like that it's right on the Detroit River overlooking Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Then you learn about the building and the city, and then you click on that other little window that you had saved, find out more about these other things as well. So it's just a nice way to find out more about the place that you're learning about through a commercial, and we kind of lean you and lead you to other information through the website.
It's a really great way of finding things out.
Well, and it's a really neat thing that this is a Detroit company. These young people came up with this idea. We're always trying to find new innovative technologies to use. Like we have Michigan.org, the new website coming in January, and one of the things we're doing is we're personalizing the website. So After people come to the website for a couple of months, we'll be kind of watching the tracking of the things that people are interested in. And if we notice that automatically they're interested in trails, for instance, when they go to the website eventually, we'll serve them up more information about trails without them even having to ask us about that. Personalized just for them. Same thing about mountain biking experiences or craft beer or golf courses or maybe about the lake experience. Whatever you're passionate about, we'll be able to know, and we'll serve that information up to you without you having to search for it.
Sounds kind of creepy, isn't it?
I know. It's funny because, people share information all the time when they use the website or when they use social media. We all share so much information about ourselves, and that information is being reviewed and followed by various robots and such, mechanical devices out there. And then sometimes some companies sell that information. We do not. We only use it to serve the user better, to provide them information in an easier way for them to get that. So we would never take advantage of that in a bad way. We just want to make sure to be able to serve up information that the traveler's looking for in an easier fashion for them.
You're listening to The Travel Show with John Guinn on UKHealthRadio.com. I'm talking to my final guest of the week's show, Dave Lorenz, who's Vice President of Travel Michigan. As I mentioned before we started the first part of the interview, Dave had been on the show before, and before we recorded this interview, he complimented me on my audio equipment. And of course, now I've recorded his second interview, I stood too far away from the microphone, so the sound for me is not too great, which is a little bit embarrassing. But Dave comes through loud and clear, so that's great. That's the important thing. So we're going to start in the final part of my interview with Dave, and I wanted to know if there's any big events planned for next year.
We have a lot of big events. I think one of the things that we're really proud about is the 60th anniversary of the Mackinac Bridge will be next year. And you might say, what's the Mackinac Bridge? Well, the Mackinac Bridge is probably our most iconic item in the state of Michigan. It literally bridges the lower peninsula to the upper peninsula across the Straits of Mackinac. Now, the Straits of Mackinac link Lake Michigan to Lake Huron. And for many years, people thought they would never be able to build a bridge because of the currents, because of all the other difficult engineering challenges. And almost 60 years ago, they decided, okay, we figured a way to do this, and they built this beautiful bridge. It looks like the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge, except it's white and in a pale green, and it looks beautiful for that setting. It's 5 miles long, one of the longest suspension bridges in the world, and when you're driving on that bridge, it's a beautiful view of either the lower peninsula, the upper peninsula, the Straits of Mackinac, or Mackinac Island to the east. You can see it all from that bridge as you're crossing. And we're really proud of this because of the innovation that it displays, because of the sheer beauty that you get to enjoy while you're crossing the bridge. So 60 years, so we're going to have some celebrations for that bridge. We always have festival events going year-round. We're known in the United States for the variety and number of festivals we have. So, for instance, a little festival in my hometown of Grand Haven, Michigan, Coast Guard Festival, is going to celebrate Pure Michigan, the brand, as a travel brand. So we're really happy that they're doing that, and it's a great example of the type of festivals you can enjoy in Michigan. Coast Guard Festival came about many years ago because it's a little beach town in Lake Michigan. There was a Coast Guard ship. It was a big ship, and it was used for escort duty to the UK during the World War II. That ship was sunk in the Atlantic, and out of 102 local men, only 2 survived that sinking. In the city's grief, the city bought enough war bonds to build a new Escanaba to replace that ship, and since then has helped to build and pay for the latest modern Escanaba, which is now based in Boston, Massachusetts. And because of that connection, that natural connection, the United States Coast Guard and Congress and the President called Grand Haven, Michigan, Coast Guard City, USA. So it's one of those things you get to enjoy when you come. That is in the first full weekend of August, one of our many festivals we have in the state of Michigan.
I have a phobia about bridges. I don't know if I'll enjoy the view. I'm fine with heights. I just not with bridges. It's weird.
I know there are a lot of people who are uncomfortable about crossing bridges. Now, here's the interesting thing. The Mackinac Bridge is so big, the bridge operators know that. So if you're concerned about crossing the bridge, especially on the correct side of the road, as we like to say it, they'll actually escort you across the bridge. They will provide somebody to drive your car across the bridge on your behalf. I think that's pretty cool.
I'll be in the back cowering under a blanket.
Yeah. You won't be alone. A lot of people do.
We talked about coast guards, which people might not think about when you're talking about a lake, but of course your lakes are huge.
Yeah.
When I was looking at the website, I saw lots of lighthouses as well.
Yeah.
I quite like lighthouses. Are any open to the public?
Yeah, there are. There are more than 100 lighthouses along Michigan's shoreline. Of course, we touch 4 of the 5 Great Lakes. We have 11,000 inland lakes. And because of that, we have more lighthouses than any other state in the country as well. Some of our lighthouses were commissioned by Abraham Lincoln. So you get a feeling for how long those lighthouses have lasted. Now, in America, that's a long time. I know for the European experience, that's kind of silly, but those are pretty old for us. And lighthouses are somehow reminiscent of a time gone by. Very few of them are really used as navigational aids today, even though they still operate. They're really a relic in a lot of ways, but for many years they help bring mariners in safely to the shorelines, and now they're bringing tourists in safely from all over the world because we actually, on Michigan.org, we have a lighthouse tour that you can take, and you can go from lighthouse to lighthouse to lighthouse by car if you'd like. Some of them are open as museums. Some of them are bed and breakfasts, and so there are a lot of ways you can visit these lighthouses. One thing I will guarantee you, they're America's castles, so we're proud of them, and we think that there's something really special about that experience.
Okay, great. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Hi, I'm checking in for my flight.
Lovely. Business or pleasure?
Holiday.
And where will you be staying?
With my parents, they live over there.
Lovely. Travel insurance?
Oh, no thanks.
Have you got travel insurance?
No.
Checked to see if you need any vaccinations?
No.
Checked out the local laws?
No, look, why do I need to know all this? I'm just staying with my parents.
Is either of your parents a local lawyer or the chief of police, B, fabulously wealthy, C, the owner of a private plane with its own fully trained medical staff, or D, none of the above?
D?
Lovely. Are you a superhero and in fact immortal?
Things can go wrong on holiday abroad, even if you're staying with family. So check it out before you check in. Find out more at gov.uk/knowbeforeyougo.
You can follow me on Twitter @holiday_hut. As I've mentioned throughout today's show, all the websites mentioned will be found at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Just look at the post for the 10th of November 2016 travel show and you'll see a list of everything that's been mentioned. And now I'm going to go through one or two of the press releases that have been released from the World Travel Market, which is being held in London at the moment. The first one is travel firm failures raise awareness of consumer protection. 9 out of 10 Brits say that it's important that their holiday is financially protected, according to research by World Travel Market London. The research has also found that just 5% of holidaymakers were unaware of ABTA and ATOL logos, while 70% actively look for the symbols for reassurance when booking a break. The vote of confidence follows a spate of high-profile collapses and terrorist incidents overseas, which raised awareness of financial protection and the perils of not being protected. The failure of low-cost holidays in July hit the national headlines as more than 100,000 customers were left out of pocket, including 27,000 people who were abroad when administrators were called in. Low-cost holidays did not have an Air Travel Organisers Licence, or ATOL, which is the Civil Aviation Authority scheme that protects UK package holidaymakers when firms go bust. And the reason for this was because the firm moved its business to Spain in 2013. Several Turkey specialists have gone out of business in the past year as the market was hit by terrorism attacks and attempted coup. And there's also speculation about the extension of Monarch's ATOL, which hit the headlines back in September. I'm sure you remember that. The WTM London research echoes findings from ABTA about the increased awareness of protection, including amongst consumers after a flurry of failures.